Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Live with Liz, our very first one in 2023. And we're so excited to be in Anderson County today, in Powdersville specifically. And we're meeting with Austin, who is the co-owner of Daedalus here in Anderson County, like I mentioned. And we're so excited to have you here. So thank you so much for agreeing to allow us to come kind of take over for a few hours and spend some time with you.
Thanks for having me.
We're so excited. Austin has been a lot of fun. I don't know if you know Austin or if you've had experience with him, but he's been a lot of fun today, and so I'm sure this interview, no pressure, but it's going to be a lot of fun today. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. If you can tell us just a little bit about your history, like how this started and why Powdersville and what you do would be great.
Yeah, so we started Daedalus at the very end of 2017 to support what we saw was a growing need for facility automation in the data center industry. Big data is a exponentially growing industry, and we wanted to get into that and really establish foothold. We chose the upstate of South Carolina because the upstate of South Carolina is a very, very strong manufacturing economy, and you had a workforce of highly skilled labor who already had a lot of the skill sets that we needed. And on top of that, there was a lot of crossover work that we could pursue on top of the data center work here. So it was a logical choice, both from an employee standpoint and also from a business development standpoint.
That's awesome. That's great news. So a lot of transferable skills. So you could come here and it was ready-made workforce, right? They were just able to kind of dive in and get started with you, which is so exciting for every area. So how many employees do you currently have working here right now?
We currently have 45 employees.
Okay, we currently have 45 employees. That's great. And you are actively recruiting how many at the moment?
Right now, we need about 5 employees. We're looking for a couple of panel techs.
Okay.
We need a electrical engineer. We need machine shop employees, fabricators. And we really need a journeyman electrician, somebody who can go out in the field that's very competent and very, very skilled and immediately go operate with a little bit of autonomy out in the field.
Perfect. And so we need those 5 positions filled right now. And we talked about what, like 10-ish maybe over the next couple months in addition?
Yeah, so we are a rapidly growing company. We're going to need a handful of panel techs over the next 5 to 12 months. We always have a need for electrical engineers. We always are going to have a need for journeyman electricians. But I would say that every one of those jobs that we listed, we will need multiple for over the next couple months and into the next year. And then we'll also probably have a need for controls engineers, mechanical engineers.
So it's kind of a whole gambit. So
yes.
You have some entry level, maybe little semi-skilled.
We do.
All the way up to highly skilled.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So we will hire people with no experience, so long as they have a good attitude and are willing to learn and be part of a team environment. We will also hire folks that have a ton of experience at a higher pay rate, but the same requirement. You've got to have a great attitude and be willing to learn and be part of a team.
And that's what a lot of companies are saying now. So you're kind of echoing what I hear from others when we speak to them, that positive attitude, that can-do attitude, that's something that can't really be taught. So we can teach you how to do the job, but you need to be kind of positive, you need to be positive and
100%.
willing to learn
Yeah.
to come in here. And we spent some time with your HR this morning, Bonnie, who's been really helpful as well. And she said the same thing, that's part of the interview process. You know, you got to come in and be friendly and nice and
So
get along.
Number one most important thing
Yeah.
for us is that you are positive. You have a good attitude.
And that kind of ties right into your roadmap for success, right?
Yes.
Your 3 steps, which you were very proud of. So you want to talk about those 3 steps?
So whenever we hire someone new, one of the early parts of their onboarding process is sitting down and explaining what we call the roadmap to success, the 3 steps that are kind of the rules that everything is done by through here. And it's really simple and it's really important. And they are: be positive, be honest, and execute. As a company in a fast-paced environment, we have to execute no matter what. It is significantly easier to win if you do it with a good attitude and if you're an honest employee.
Yeah.
So it's common sense, but I think it's really important that everyone hears it from management all the way at the top that, look, we are focused on honesty, we are focused on transparency and positivity, and we're going to hold you accountable to that in the same way that we expect you to hold us accountable to that.
And you said that your employees do that when they see you walking around and maybe you're like,
oh yeah,
great day. They're like, hey.
I cannot get away with having a bad day.
Yeah.
But it's important that
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And it ties right back to that good attitude, which is what you're looking for in your employees. So rolling right on to the next, what is it about working here that you want people to know? Why would somebody want to apply and work here? What are you excited about?
we are a fast-growing company in an industry that is growing at a rate that is unheard of. We are working in the big data industry. We're working for cool companies, doing fun projects. We're working on manufacturing automation with robotics and vision systems. And you really, when you work for Daedalus, you get a chance to work on projects that show you both the future of manufacturing, but also the future of the economy as a whole when you look at big data.
Yeah. And we got a tour before we started this, and it's really just like you said when we started, the building doesn't look super big from right here, but when you walk through, it's just this big, bright, spacious building. I mean, there's a lot going on back there, and it seems like really exciting work. And you know, you explained how some areas, this is a really high skilled area. It was a really cool tour. So when people come to apply for a job, do they get a tour of the building?
They can.
They can, okay.
Honestly, if somebody asks for a tour of the building in their interview process, I think that we would give it to them, no problem. Yeah. We're proud of it, and we want everyone who comes to work here to see what they're getting into, and if that's what will help them feel good about it and give us a chance to see them in that environment, I'd be more than happy to.
Yeah, it's really
I will
nice.
give the tour.
Yeah, Austin will give the tour, so you know it'll be fun. So let's talk more about what does a day look like? What is the shift here? What's the schedule? If I wanted to work here, what would my hours be?
Yeah, so most of the production employees work 4-10. It's Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 4:30 with a lunch break in there. We do have opportunities for folks whose schedule doesn't allow for that to do 5 8-hour days. Typically that gets used if someone is taking advantage of a tuition reimbursement program with us and they have to break away to go to class or do something along those lines. We say, okay, well, you still need to get your hours in and get your job done. So we're going to let you do 5 8s or, 5 7s, whatever the situation may be. But it really is centered around if you're part of a sanctioned educational thing with Daedalus to do that.
That's really exciting. I love to hear that you have tuition reimbursement.
I do.
That's always exciting for companies to share. And the 410s, because some people love that. A lot
It's
of
great.
people love 410s. That would be great.
Get your dentist appointments on Fridays.
Yeah, don't have to save all that leave and go on a vacation or whatever you want to do. That's awesome. So just learning a little bit more, what is the culture like? I know very positive. You're very positive and upbeat. What else about the culture would you like to share?
It's a very diverse and fun place to work. We work very hard, and everybody here understands that we're going to get this job done. Failure is just not an option, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to enjoy it along the way.
Sure.
So it would definitely be a culture of winning.
Yeah, that's a great way to put that.
But it's a good time. We have a ping pong table. Nobody can beat me.
Challenges are now being accepted everywhere across the state. So let's also talk about, and I meant to ask this a minute ago when you were talking about education. There is a co-op program you mentioned here. You have somebody who's currently here.
We
is that
do.
Correct. Who's part of a co-op. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So this is a new program, but we have a Clemson student who is working on an engineering degree who has been working with us for over a year and splitting his time between going to school, finishing his degree, and also working here. It's been great for him because it gives him an opportunity to actually use the skills that he's learning in the real world and benefit the company that he's working for. It's great for us because we get to have a young, hungry employee build something of his own here at Daedalus and really take ownership of the role that ultimately he will step into when he graduates. Huge fan of that and cultivating our own talent here.
Yeah, absolutely. So if other students are watching this, or maybe their parents are watching this, how could they possibly get into a co-op? How is that opportunity presented to others?
Yeah, it's really informal right now.
Okay.
Much like the application process, just show up. Just come here.
Just come knock on the door.
Yeah.
Great. And speaking of, I was going to ask about that next, the applications. Do you want to talk about how they apply, when they apply, and where?
We apply in person. You're going to come here to 223 Pine Road, Easley, South Carolina, and talk to Karen or Bonnie and get an application. And depending on who's here, you might even get a little pre-interview along the way. So we do it in person. Depending on what your skill set is, it will be how deep we dive into it. But for the most part, you're gonna talk to somebody. We're gonna review if we have an opening, and we're gonna reach out to you and let you know, hey, we'd like to have you for an interview.
Perfect. And I think, and you can correct me if this is wrong, I think it's Monday through Thursday from 8 to 4 they can stop by.
That would be a good rule of thumb.
Is that a good, okay.
Yeah.
Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4. Do you want to repeat the address one more time?
223 Pine Road in Easley.
In Easley, South
We're
Carolina.
right off I-85.
Yes, very good. So if you're interested, they do in-person applications. Come on down and see everybody, and put in an application, and maybe get a tour, maybe meet Austin and play some ping pong. You get to have all kinds of fun. So next we're going to go into some live questions. I have some I'm going to ask if they're not asked on here, but we'll go ahead to the live Q&A. If you have a question, you haven't put it in yet, please go ahead and type that in there, and we'll go ahead and get started with those now.
Okay, so first question, what is the starting pay for entry-level positions?
What is the starting pay for entry-level positions? Good question.
All right, entry-level positions, we start at $15 an hour. We have jobs where you can come work for Daedalus with no background in electrical wiring whatsoever and start at $15 an hour. With those jobs, you do have the opportunity to move up as you grow your skills and show some initiative.
Very good. And you've talked about that in the past too, that you
Yes.
kind of want to grow your own pipeline
Absolutely.
of skills. So that would fit in with that.
Is there a vaccination requirement?
There is not. Personal choice. Oh.
Is there a is there a vaccination requirement? They may have heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, personal choice.
Okay, and those are all the questions we have.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for tuning in. If you have any more questions, go ahead and type them in the comment box and we will get to those at a later date and time. There is going to be another Live with Liz this month at the end of the month, so just keep following the Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and all of those for more information. And thank you all so much. Have a good one.